Hi, I'm Austin.
And I'm Beth.
And today on the Points Unknown channel, we are going to be installing the Rekluse clutch on Beth's WR250R.
We're also going to be doing an oil and filter change, and we're going to exchange out the clutch plates.
This is a 2015 WR250, and it's been an absolutely fantastic bike, first for me and now for Beth. But the clutch is definitely in need of replacement, and so our thought was initially we were just going to put in the new clutch kit, but with the advancements in the Rekluse clutch and automatic clutch world, we thought might as well give it a try. So inside the Rekluse clutch package, it came with
pressure plate and a lining plate and a bunch of springs and other hardware pieces. And then we've got our very important 6 drive plates that we're going to be interspacing with the new friction plates from the clutch kit that we have. Instructions, stickers, very important.
Did this come with it? This is a plastic bag for soaking. I think we can use the plastic bag for soaking the plates. So like we said, in addition to installing the Rekluse clutch, we're also going to be installing new friction plates, just because the friction plates that we have that are in the bike are old. So we're using the Tusk clutch kit from Rocky Mountain. We won't be using these, what are these plates called?
Drive plates.
We aren't going to be using the drive plates with the clutch kit because the drive plates come with the Rekluse kit, but we are going to be using the friction plates. I believe we were only going to need 6 of them.
Correct.
Usually you only need 7, but with the Rekluse you need 6.
First, we're going to start with an oil change. We're going to replace the oil and the filter. When you're normally installing a Rekluse clutch, you do not have to drain the oil from the bike. You just need to put it on its left-hand side, and then you can go about installing the new clutch. However, since we are in need of an oil change anyways, we are going to drain all the oil.
And also to prevent fuel from leaking out while the bike is on its side, we're going to drain a little bit of fuel out of the tank because the tank is full right now. So it's probably better to not have a full tank of fuel. So in an effort to keep leaky fuel to a minimum, we've taken the vent tubing and taped it up to the handlebar. Next, we're going to move the clutch cable adjuster into the middle of its travel, like so. And then put the bike down on its side.
So per the instructions, we need to soak the EXP plate and the friction discs in oil for 5 minutes. So
I'm not sure how mega important it is to have these things very soaked. I wasn't totally convinced the plastic bag method was really getting these things soaked the way I wanted them to. So I've moved them into a Tupperware so they can be even more soaked in oil. Hopefully that does the trick.
all right, let's see if I can get this cotter pin.
Move the cotter pin, pull that out. So it goes bolt, brake pedal, washer, cotter pin. And then there is no washer here. And then we can just undo the spring like that. So that was just threaded in just like this. And that went in. So we'll take that out, put that up to the side.
So we're going to start by removing these first 3 bolts that are on the outside of this cover, and they are 8mm. And then we can go about removing the 6 remaining bolts, which are also 8mm. Yay!
Where did they come from?
This one came from here.
And then the other 2 are the same length?
Yep, because you can see there.
So the long one came
goes into the engine. Oh, maybe
right near the oil filter port, which we need to change the oil filter too while we're at it. This is the
outer cover.
The outer cover, or the plastic plate, it was in this order, and then the inner plate, or the actual cover, was the clutch cover. The bolts were in this, and so as you can see, bolts are all different lengths, and so it's important to note how they are, and so that's why we've matched the positioning here with their positioning around the cover, so that when we put it back together, we just match what we're doing. What does it look like in there? You excited? Looks nice and clean in there.
It sure does. Now we gotta take out those springs. So now we need to remove these 5 spring bolts and then this center one as well. And they all appear to be a 10 millimeter bolt head. We have chosen not to use the Phillips head or JIS screw portion of it. And it sounds like multiple installations are different. So in our case, we actually need to reuse these screws and springs. That may or may not be the case for what you're doing.
Okay, so what do we got there?
We have a washer and a nut.
That's the pressure plate.
Pressure plate, and there's the rest of our
Throw-out spring.
throw-out spring. We've got a whole bunch of friction plates.
And we're gonna get rid of all the friction plates because they're old.
So we pulled out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 friction plates, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drive plates.
The condition of the clutch cover gasket, it doesn't look damaged, but I'm not sure it looks good either. Because we're getting in here and doing this work, we already have purchased a Tusk clutch cover gasket, so we're gonna go ahead and replace this gasket with the new one from Tusk. So this is the throw-out bolt, and that is the Harrowhawk. What do you think, Harrowhawk?
You want a motorcycle now too?
Okay, come on. So on the throw-out bolt, Rekluse says that we need to flip this washer bolt combo, and it just threads easily out. And then you put the top nut back on, which was this, on the underside. Thread that all the way down, then washer, and then what was on the bottom now becomes the top. And we thread that all the way on. So it's like that. Throw-out bolt, nut, washer, top nut with the integrated washer. So tell me what you're doing. You're doing...
I did a friction plate and a drive plate, and now I'm gonna do another friction plate and then another drive plate, and we're gonna alternate.
How many is that?
I believe this is my second one, so I will do
Right,
6. If I can ever find the right orientation. You would think that they would, there we go, have some sort of symbol. This is number 4, and here's our last drive plate. And I believe in place of the last friction plate, we're supposed to put the EXC disc. Here, there is no top or bottom, so it doesn't matter which way you flip it, you just gotta put it in there.
And that's keyed as well, right? You gotta put it in the right
Yes, that
way.
was keyed as well. And there's our new stack.
So next we're gonna take the reconfigured throw-out bolt and do something with a needle bearing. Then it goes washer, and the needle, which I guess is this thing. Needle bearing. And it's got little bearings on it, and I think it goes either direction. Looks to be fairly symmetrical. And then washer again. Just like that. Washer, needle, washer. Okay. And that goes where, Beth?
Center hole.
Just like this?
Yep.
Okay. Washer, needle, washer. All right, then what?
Then you're going to take the Rekluse lining plate with the Rekluse pressure plate, and using a thin film of oil between the surfaces to keep the lining plate in place.
Okay.
Once the lining plate has been coupled with the pressure plate, install them onto the clutch pack.
Okay. Then what?
So now we're going to reinstall the OE pressure plate springs and screws, and it says this is a critical step. And you should install them in a star pattern while doing like 3-turn increments Which my assumption is that is to ensure that we get a good even pressure. All right, and now we're attached.
Like I mentioned previously, I'm gonna replace the gasket, which is probably fine. I mean, it's not torn, it's not broken, but it's not great. So we're gonna replace that gasket. There's a right side up and an upside down, and clearly that was not it. Gasket's on there, and then this goes back on. Look inside there. It looks very clean and nice, as it should. And make sure that my gasket is all aligned. And then Beth did me a huge favor by putting the bolts in the right order. So presumably that one goes there, that one goes there, that one goes there, that one there, this one. Am I supposed to do these in a star pattern?
No.
Okay, probably will anyway though.
But you do torque them to 7.2 foot-pounds when you get to that point.
We got to remember that we drained all the oil. So before we start this thing back up, we got to put new oil in it. And do we want to change the oil filter?
Yes.
All right, because we are doing this as part of an oil change too, we're now gonna replace the oil filter as well. And so to do that, we got to take off oil filter cover, which is an 8mm. I got to remember this for future oil filter changes. That pretty easy to
Laying it on its side.
laying on its side. Though I'm probably not getting all the oil out of it doing it this way because I'm not letting oil pour out of the filter. So we're gonna take the new oil filter, a little bit of oil on the gaskets. It's always a good thing. And then it goes in so that the side with the solid part goes in here. And we also look at the gaskets here, make sure this gasket is still good and it's got plenty of oil on it. I've changed this gasket pretty recently, so I'm not worried about it. And you know that you've got it right because this tab needs to go in that hole, and if you've got the oil filter on backwards, it can't go into that hole, so you know that it's wrong. She rises.
And since we need to turn it on, we should probably put some oil in it.
One of my favorite methods for figuring out how much oil to put in is to use a scale. So here's my measuring thing, and then I'll reset the weight, and I'm going to change it to grams. We need to put in 1.4 liters into the WR250R with the filter change at 865 grams per liter. That's about 1,200 grams. And then we put our 1,200 grams of oil in. Boom, handled. So next we're supposed to take all the free play out of the clutch, which it is. There's no free play. I'm actually kind of thinking maybe that's too much no free play. So I want to put some free play into it just so I know that it's there, and then we can back it out. I just want to convince myself that I have some.
Yep.
There it is. So now it's got a little bit of free play, which is not what we want, so that's fine. I just wanted to convince myself that we could do it. And now, still just a little bit there. No free play. As instructed. And so now lock that back down. So that's that. Verify the bike is in neutral. It's verified. Now we can start it.
All right, now we are going to check the free play gain. And to do that, we have this rubber band. There are two methods apparently, the rubber band method and the manual method. And they say to start with the rubber band method so you can see what it's actually doing and then progress to the manual method. But we're gonna need to turn the bike on, let it warm back up, and then we will install this rubber band around the handlebar and around the lever. And then we're gonna look for some movement as we go up to 5,000 RPM.
Make sure the bike's in neutral.
So what we were doing as the bike revved, we were looking for somewhere between 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch of movement in that lever as we hit our revs. That looked a little bit more than an 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch. So we need to do some adjustment on our clutch cable.
Okay, so we want to, now that we got the rubber band on it, we want to adjust it so that it's doing 6 to 9 millimeters.
So that the movement
Movement there or the movement here?
Movement here is 6 to 9 millimeters.
So not very much at all. Just that much. All right, start the bike. Now, because we were able to adjust the free play gain with just the slack in the cable and the cable adjusters on the housing, we do not have to go back into the clutch case and move the bolts around or move the nuts around on that throwout bolt. Remember how we flipped them around? And apparently, if you can't adjust the free play enough with the cable externally, you have to go back inside and flip that around. But it seems like we were able to do it just fine with the free play adjustment that we have on the cable housing. So now we're going to put the brake on. We kept the brake off just in case we had to go back in there, but because we don't have to go back in there, we're happy. We got the master cylinder and the cotter pin there, and cotter pin for that is on there. Up top here, got the 2 springs. One of them goes to the back, one of them goes to the front. Let's see, it's down there. It's for the brake return.
So now that we have checked our free play gap, whatever that was called, we have to do the 3-step break-in process. The first step of that is that we're going to turn the bike on and we're going to rev it to 5,000 and then let it drop to idle speed again and then rev it, and we're going to repeat that 10 times. And then we're going to have to go out onto the street and we need to do 5 first gear starts and then 5 second gear starts.
Yeah, you gotta try it, B. It's like, I mean, I'm in second. So, it's in neutral.
Yep.
You're gonna pull the clutch in, put it into first, and then let the clutch out.
Oh yeah, it just has that little jerk and then you're done.
All right, Beth, first impressions of the Rekluse clutch on the WR250.
It's a little hard to break the habit of grabbing the clutch.
Yeah, is it? No, don't do that.
Oh.
Get that hand off. Let go.
You go to slow down to go around a corner, like you're doing a really sharp corner maneuver. You pull in the clutch. Not so much anymore.
Yeah, do you need to pull in the clutch anymore?
You do not need to pull in the clutch except to shift gears.
So it works.
So it works.
Awesome. You happy with the install?
Yeah, it was actually more smooth than I expected it to go.
All right, good job. You're done. Yeah, for such an invasive process into the whole clutch system on the bike, the overall, the install of the Rekluse system was pretty painless and very straightforward. So I'm impressed.
And I think they did a nice job with the instructions, as minimal as they are. They get the job done.
Tells you exactly what you need to do.
Yes.
So now you're ready to ride.
Now I'm ready to ride. It just needs to stop raining or snowing.
Perfect. Thanks for watching this episode of Points Unknown TV. If you like this video, please hit that like button. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe. Points Unknown produces monthly content about motorcycles, DIY van life, and adventures that go along with them. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on down the trail.